Hello, I'm Mantastic'c and Fantastic, and today I'm going to be talking briefly about the Samurai Showdown collab that has just gone live in North America. So, this is the second time this collab has returned, and I would like to at least give a brief overview of what you can expect. I am getting a little better. My wrists are starting to improve, but I'm having more struggles in other ways. But one thing I want to mention before I go any further in this event is that this collab has a very low magic stone cost. It is cheaper to monster exchange, which means if you don't want to roll, you can acquire the top rarity cards with relative ease. I say relative ease because you'll need 5 6-star Godfist exclusives as trade fodder, which should be reasonably doable due to the fact that the past several months we've been given lots of 6-star Godfist exclusives as just free rewards. So if any of the 6-star cards are appealing and you are low on magic stones, trade, don't roll. So for the top rarity cards, Yashamaru in his new evolution form has the ability to gain a 7 combo Super Awakening, which means he'll have 2 7 combos and 3 VDPs along with a healthy attack stat. It makes him possibly the hardest hitting VDP card in the game, or one of the hardest at least, which also means he's a great candidate to utilize the double damage cap latent because he is going to be able to deal spectacular amounts of damage when you make that 3x3 box. At this exact moment, we don't have any stellar light leaders at the moment, but it will definitely change in the future. Like, colors do come and go in terms of what's valuable, and his base active gives an attack buff, an RCV buff, or block removal, and board changers. So you're basically kind of guaranteeing that you're going to kill whatever spawn you're facing with his active skill while also overwriting various debuffs. I'm actually looking at all the cards with all the new features in the latest update because I can actually see Super Awakenings even if I don't own the card. I don't own this card. I'm actually just looking at them through the Monster Exchange system. Tachibana, this individual here, I wanted him so long ago just because of this weapon assist, because back when Shura 1 was the hardest dungeon to play through, anything green is a problem for blue teams, and changing the enemy's attribute into fire makes it so instead of doing 50% damage, you do 2 times damage. It's nice, I'd say, but I don't think it's by any means necessary anymore. If we were stuck with just Shura 1 or just water teams being heavily disadvantaged, this weapon assist can have more merits. But at this point, I don't think it's particularly great. Shiki has, with her weapon assist, actually have this weapon assist, a skill boost like always did, and now not 1, but 2 Ls. The base cooldown is definitely low, but for your, say, Royal Oak or Ryume teams who do like to match Ls, having a skill boost with Ls can be meaningful, but the lack of bind immunity means you're probably not going to want to use them on Royal Oak themselves. Maybe a sub if you have a way to say that you're going to use just only the base active skill, never use the inherit. It can be something to think about, but with such a short base cooldown, it's a little bit riskier. And we do have other double L options nowadays as well. Yashamaru, with their weapon assist, it's still a great weapon assist in all honesty. And I want to mention that if you have never ever acquired one of the premier cleric style weapon assists such as Christmas Tamadra, this might be one of your best options because you have 80% blind resist, which is always beneficial. No, 80% jammer resist, I mean, always beneficial still, and you have an attack while below 50%. So the owning card has a good chance of dealing 2 times more damage, and you have 80% chance to block jammers, plus the active skill gives you a full bind, a woken bind, unable to match orb effect, and a board reshuffle. The board reshuffle means you might get a Skyfall, which means you technically get all your active skills charging up by 1. Maybe in a weird fluke scenario, you activate your leader skill multipliers and somehow kind of kill the spawn or bypass Supercell. There's a lot of weird things that can happen with board refreshings, but even if the board refresh doesn't pan out, it's a full cleric style active skill with useful awakening. So if you have never actually acquired, like I said, those premier cleric style weapons, maybe think about monster exchanging for them. Again, I don't necessarily have all the fodder, or maybe I do have the fodder in higher evolved forms, but the point of the matter is, if you don't have a great cleric style weapon, utilize the monster exchange to acquire him, because it is a valuable weapon overall. I realized I went past the new card as well, and the new card I do want to look at for a bit. So, I can't see her Super Awakening for some reason, but in her base form, you can have, well, in both her forms, you can have a VDP or a 7 combo Super Awakening. So just keep that in the back of your mind. So we're going to go 7 combo in this case. So she has the capacity to, okay, I can see in the other forms, but in her base form, she has a blisteringly fast 1 cooldown. So you can unlock the board and create 1 light orb. You can carry any type of inherit over top of themselves, which will make your life much easier. You also are a strong damage dealer. You have 7, 10, and a VDP. So you hit wonderfully hard. You have a soft recover bind, and it's a reasonably strong sub all around. Maybe you can argue that it can be a reasonable leader as well, because if you can match 4 more light orbs every turn, you do get a large amount of attack, and you still have your bonus combos, which in turn gives you damage reduction. But, whoops, no, we're just navigating through all their cool stuff. In her evolved form, this is where you can see those stats, so 7 or VDP. In her evolved form, you can have 777 or quad 7 or 777 with a VDP. You also have a valuable active skill. 2 turns of Attribute Absorb Void is meaningful, with 2 times attack alongside of it to help ensure you actually kill the opposing spawn. You do have an L, you have 4 skill boosts, but you are also you also have a reasonably strong leader skill. You have fixed 10 seconds of orb movement time, you have 2.2 times stats to water and light cards, you get some damage reduction, a reasonable attack multiplier, auto follow-up attack. It's just a reasonably useful card all around. I feel like they also will be for the future. If you don't have, well, no one has it yet, but like the future Academy event will release Kyo, which is going to be one of the best leaders in the game. This is going to be a wonderfully viable pairing if you don't have School Kyo, and School Kyo will be a much harder card to acquire by comparison because these cards here have almost the lowest cost for monster exchanging. So if you do have reasonably strong light-based cards, it's something to think about for possible future. And then if I am going to look at the rolling lineup, we can take a look at the new 6-star card. The new 6-star card is unfortunately a it's unfortunately an orb skin card, so you cannot monster exchange, but you can acquire with relative ease because you could technically IAP them directly. And why are they so desirable is because in their base form, might be a little hard to see, but their base form has 2 skill boosts and a 21 turn cooldown to transform. But when they do transform, they provide 3 turns of haste. So it's 5 effective skill boosts if you can get to 21 to start. That's wonderfully powerful because once you do transform, you have Super Blind, 7, 10, VDP, 2 Ls, along with an active skill that gives you RCV buff, increase the chance of fire orbs falling down as a Skyfall, which is not that relevant usually. You also gain 3 water and 3 hard orbs. So this is definitely a very powerful card on mono water teams because you're giving yourself useful buffs, you're making orbs, which are always helpful, you have incredibly strong offensive and even kind of utility-ish awakenings with the L's, so to speak, and super blinders. So they're jam-packed in terms of the value they can bring, but their leader skill actually allows them to become a synergistic pairing for Royal Oak if you don't have a Royal Oak yourself, because they give you stats for water type cards, they give you give attack multiplier and half damage with 8+ combos, which should be no problem because Royal Oak gives bonus combos, and they also give +3 combos when you match 5+ linked water orbs. Obviously not as good as double Royal Oak, but if you don't have Royal Oak, you can utilize this as an alternative pairing. And when you enter the dungeon, they do cover fire. So if you don't have someone like, say, Chun-Li, this is a great way to cover fire on a given team. And they also are fully bind immune, so you don't have to worry about slapping an inherit over top that does provide bind immunity. Their weapon assist form is also strong. It gives you a skill boost, enhanced hard orb, and a jam resist, so you can heal more, you can transform more easily, useful overall, but I would definitely want to leverage their transforming state overall. Like I said, if you do have water teams and you feel like this can advance your progress or give you a chance to clear new endgame content, it can be worth IAPing to purchase said orb skin. In addition to this, we also have buffs for all the bottom rarities. So all the bottom rarity cards received a new pixel evolution, but unfortunately their weapon assists did not get buffed, except for the orb skin card. They gained 1 more blind resist. But the main thing I feel is that the bottom rarity is going to comprise the vast majority of the rolling pool. And they are not bad by any means, but they're not like outrageously over the top that you must roll, must acquire at this point in time. Like, with their new pixel evolutions, they technically are able to fulfill the 5-star rarity or lower challenges with relative ease. A lot of these pixel forms are actually quite strong for a 5-star card. Not great for, like, say, Shura Realm or like arena style content necessarily, but for 5-star rarity challenges, these cards and their pixel forms are actually quite meaningful. Like, yes, this is excessively heavy physical play, but still, 777 combo and a 2-turn base cooldown with, I guess, RCV and a shield. It's not necessarily like it's a bad thing by any means. And all the pixel cards kind of have something similar. And Charlotte's pixel form, I feel, is one of the few that might have use outside of 5-star rarity challenges, because with her, if you're playing solo mode, you can have 4 skill boosts, but her active skill is a 7-turn cooldown that gives 2 turns of haste. That's quite powerful for 7 turns when I really think about it, and also creates a row of water orbs. So if you're mono water farming, you can get orbs for killing stuff, you get haste for sweeping the floor more easily. It's just something interesting overall. Like, I don't think they are worth chasing necessarily the 5-star cards, but they will help you with those 5-star rarity challenges if you do roll a bit. And at the same time, some rolls are not necessarily a bad thing for this event, because, like, there is still a reasonable chance to acquire 6-star cards. There's a 22% chance to acquire any 6-star cards, so not a terrible rolling rate overall. And even so, like, even though their weapon assists did not get buffed, if you're a newer player and you have no weapon assists whatsoever, these can be reasonably helpful. Like, they're not outstanding or over the top that you must have them. It's going to complete your teams, but it does give a bit more value. And one last thing I want to mention for the bottom rarity cards is that they all have a dungeon bonus awakening in their base, in their second form. So for instance, this individual here with his 4-turn base cooldown becomes quite a strong button card for solo mode. Like, it's a low entry point into button farming, because I have 4 skill boosts, which is nice. I also have that dungeon boost to increase the drop rate. Like, I'm assuming you don't have tons of greeds lying around. So I've got the dungeon boost, I got a 4-turn base cooldown. I also have a button style active skill with an inherit, so I can utilize this inherit with relative ease. The green individual, who I don't have for the bottom rarity, they also have a button style active skill, which does 100,000 damage to a single enemy 5 times, so you can potentially kill multiple spawns. They also have a dungeon boost. It's a button base, so if you have weapon assists that have the dungeon boost, you can inherit over top. Again, it's just small things. Like, it's nothing that's game changing, but they are still useful. So, like, I did roll a bit back in the day for when Samurai Showdown did first come out. Like, it's still reasonably overall. Like, I did roll for the weapon assists because they were definitely stronger back then, but they're still okay. Like I said, if you've never rolled, it's still not a bad idea. And for the other orb skin card, she can function as a potential solution for your Royal Oak teams, but if you have, like, Kyo, the Draco Blade, they're a much superior option. Like, it does give you a 2-turn cooldown, but, like, it's just nothing truly special overall. So, as a whole, I think a few rolls can be justified. 22% chance for a 6-star is nice, and most of the 6-stars have reasonably strong value. But at the same time, if you don't like to roll, just monster exchange for someone that might have value. You can get a full cleric-style weapon assist with relative ease. You can get an incredibly hard-hitting light VDP card, a great future pairing for School Kyo. You can even IAP for the new 6-star Orb skin and have a wonderful Royal Oak sub or pairing. Either way, hopefully you all have a truly fantastic day. I am starting to get a little bit better. Like, I've been struggling the last couple of weeks with various problems and pains, but my wrist pains are starting to get a bit more under control, which is nice. Back and neck is not doing well. I do go for a bunch of imaging on July 2nd. It's most likely not going to result in anything fruitful. Like, I'm not going to get my hopes up. It's most likely going to be inconclusive because I'm going to be, like, doing imaging for my wrists, my back and neck. But it will probably just lead to more imaging being like prescribed or whatever, recommended. So, like, I'll probably be going through more hurdles of testing, but at least it's some progress. So at least it's moving forward necessarily. It may not necessarily get me going anywhere, but it's better than nothing, I guess. But I have been avoiding using my computer. Like, I've touched my computer hardly at all the past couple of weeks. Even, like, my device for playing pad, like, I get, like, weekly updates saying, like, your screen time's up or down by X%, and it's been massively down because I'm just not touching stuff, because typing hurts the most. Playing pad hurts a modest amount as well. Painting miniatures hurts the least. I think it's because, like, I can swap between hands, or, like, it's just less force needed. I don't know, like, pain is weird, but either way, I think things are starting to get a little bit better. Maybe a couple more weeks of just excessive resting, so to speak, for my wrists, and maybe I can start doing stuff. But at the same time, if you found this kind of video helpful, let me know, because I am trying to find ways to do something productive and meaningful with my day, because I spend so many hours just incapacitated, unfortunately, and it's not very enjoyable, so to speak. But either way, hopefully you all have a truly fantastic day. I wish you all the best of luck in your own pad adventures, and happy puzzling.